we're moving to the last segment of the night, Carl, if I may. And we'll talk about this week in wrestling. So, this is the last time I'm going to do this little precursor, Carl. You ready? At the time of recording, we are currently on Monday night. So, by the time this is uploaded, the Raw we're talking about was last week's Raw, not the one that you've just watched, right? We are now a Monday night podcast because we keep moving it for pay-per-views anyway. So we're going to start recording it on Monday. So I'm going to stop telling you this. When I talk about this week in wrestling, I talk about the week that's just been, and that will always be the case. So, Carl, would you like to go through the Raw results?
Let's do it. So, on this week on Raw, which is now last week, you get the point. You get it. You with us. So, on Raw, we got to see Seth address what happened to Rey Mysterio at Extreme Rules.
I took out his eye. Yes, he did.
MVP confronts R-Truth. We see a interesting little 3-on-3 tag match. MVP, Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin.
I'm guessing that happened spontaneously.
Took on Cedric Alexander, Ricochet, and a returning Mustafa Ali.
Yes.
He's back.
I'm better than ever.
Of which Cedric, Ricochet, and Ali picked up the win. Peyton Royce took on Ruby Riott for some fucking reason, with Ruby Riott picking up the win for some fucking reason. The Street Profits beat Garza and Andrade for some fucking reason. Stephanie McMahon made an appearance via satellite to address the status of the WWE Women's title for some
nothing
fucking
we
reason.
like more than the screwy finish.
Of course. And obviously Stephanie still exists, apparently. So
yeah, but only have her own webcam. I don't know if you've noticed that.
I know, yeah.
Same like Money in the Bank. Same fucking wallpaper every time.
Exactly. You know, it's funny, like everyone else who's like fucking on by a camera, it looks like a professional setup. And theirs is just like fucking old school, like
blue screen.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
She always tries to blag it. I'm totally stood in the same room as you right now. Yeah. Sorry, I am harping on not about the Raw one, about the Money in the Bank one, because that was so blatantly not in the same fucking room.
Oh God, that was awful, wasn't it? It was so badly done. But yeah, so Steph turns up, sound. Bailey took on Kairi Sane, with Kairi Sane picking up the win, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre cuts a promo. He wants a worthy opponent for SummerSlam. Will he get it? Find out soon. And the main event of the evening was Randy Orton taking on Big Show in that unsanctioned match, with the Viper picking up the win.
Good.
Yeah, you fucking hope so, right? So that was the rundown of the card. In terms of the highlights, do you know what? It wasn't a bad Raw this week, personally speaking. Which, as we mentioned before, the kind of 50-50 booking of Raw and SmackDown being good and bad. I didn't like SmackDown this week, but we'll come on to that. But for Raw, I thought it was okay. So the show opens with Seth obviously addressing what had happened to Rey Mysterio. But yeah, ended up moving to a new feud with Aleister Black. So obviously I mentioned in the news before, obviously Vince isn't necessarily big on Aleister Black at the moment, but interesting that they are trying to maybe go down the Seth versus Black feud.
And I know I shouldn't, but I'm going to point out the fact that on next week's Raw, tonight's Raw, at the time of recording, Dominic is coming to Raw to address what Seth did. So I don't know, I feel a little bit like they might be backpedaling and we're not going to leave the Ray stuff alone.
Well, maybe. Just maybe they were going to go down that route, and then they decided, well, do you know what, Aleister Black's actually pretty shit, and so they didn't end up
Vince walked in and he went, what have you got? And he just scribbled out his name. No,
pretty much. It's like Dominic. Yeah, we'll use Dominic. So I don't know, I feel like if they do something like that with Aleister Black, even though I'm not big on the guy, it's something different at least for Seth. And I know Aleister Black's been in that kind of scene with everything going on with Ray and stuff like that, but I feel like it might be interesting to see them two go side by side. So Seth actually won a game with them, like something happening and then them cutting to fucking commercial break and coming back and there's a match on. That happened again.
It's pre-taped, you think?
Exactly, right? And it was Seth and Aleister Black, in which Seth won clean, which was quite a surprise, and then they beat down Aleister Black afterwards with no fucker coming to save him. So don't know where Umberto was, don't know. Yeah, everyone hates him now. Fuck him.
But Ray was trying to come and save him, but he kept getting like confused. And
just running into doors.
His depth perception's fucked. So For anyone who honestly believes what happened, I just need to be clear. He didn't really lose an eye. I'm not really heartless or callous.
Right about kayfabe. Kayfabe.
Kayfabe lost his eye.
Kayfabe Mysterio. So yeah, so that was enough to get a highlight for me, I think. Also, MVP. So he wanted
MVPs in your
24/7
highlights.
Yeah, he
Wow.
wanted the 24/7 champion to join him in the ring. Obviously, R-Truth's like, well, why would I do that? But then, bamboozled, Shelton Benjamin pins R-Truth to become your new 24/7 champion. And in somewhat of a fucking mad stat, apparently it's the first match he's won on Raw in something like 14 years.
Wow, that is a long time coming.
That's a long ass time.
I mean, I heard he was going for it all, just trying to be the best.
Yeah, I've heard that too. But yeah, so I know, shocking, but an MVP segment was in my highlights this week. Mainly for just the fact that Shelton got the win and he's aligned himself with
I want to make this clear then. Shelton's in your highlights this week.
Yeah,
not MVP.
Basically. Fuck MVP. But yeah, another one. So Mustafa Ali returned. So all in all, bit of a shit way to do it after all these hacker vignettes, which we're pretty certain was to bring back Ali. But it seems like
could still be Ali though. They might be throwing you a red herring here.
They might be, but is it still going? Like, I know that they were like, oh, we'll post something on Twitter, but it's not been on TV forever. And I think other than that thing you posted on Twitter once, it's not really been anywhere else either. So
they need to continue it because the sum of the hackers' mission was to out Sonya Deville.
Well,
that was the entire mission. It's like mission accomplished. They need to do more with it.
To be fair, like even like Sonya and like Mandy and Otis and stuff, they've just been missing from SmackDown for weeks as well. So where are they all? What's the hacker done? Has he killed them?
No, that would be a storyline twist right there.
That would.
All you find was a bloodied Money in the Bank case.
Amazing. It's just been like completely hacked.
They really were Extreme Rules.
Imagine they did that. That'd be great. But yeah, so Ali's back. Awesome. It's a bit of a shame what's happening with the hacker, but if it comes back, I'll be happy to see it back. And also just great to see these kind of three immensely talented guys in Cedric and Ricochet and Ali getting.
That's the thing; they do not get enough TV time.
Exactly.
Ali especially because he's been missing for months, but genuinely all three of them, more of them on the show, please, definitely.
I'm interested to see what they do with Ali as well, because I believe he tweeted after the fact, kind of trying to come after Drew. So I don't know, is he trying to tease him to heel or something? Because that's not going to work. So
don't ruin it, guys. Don't do that.
Yeah, just don't do that. Another highlight of the week. So Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre was a highlight this week. Surprisingly, maybe.
I don't think it's surprising at this point. They've actually worked really well together. In all fairness.
Yeah. Well, I thought I didn't know where it was going to go after the whole Extreme Rules match, but Ziggler comes down again, says he wants another chance, and basically Drew tells him to fuck off and then headbutts him. Typical Drew.
Classic Drew. Yeah.
But then obviously Dolph.
The old Glasgow kiss.
Well, that's it. Because they don't like saying that, and Claymore Party and every other fucking one-liner they can, every opportunity they get.
Oh yeah.
But Dolph, persistent as he is, it's like, no, Drew, I want to fight you. You can pick when and where. You can pick the stipulation this time. And Drew McIntyre changes his fucking mind a lot. How easily convinced is this guy? Like, they're not doing him any favors.
I don't know why Ziggler even tried. All he had to do was go, oh, go on.
Exactly. Literally, the amount of times he's been like, no, okay then. Like, the guy cannot fucking stick to his
he knows what a yes means.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So a bit silly, I suppose, in that regard, but obviously we get to see this continue now, where Drew gets to pick the stipulation. And I mean, I'm hoping it's not like he undoes himself and like fucking ends up picking a stipulation which benefits Dolph or something.
Otherwise, it'll make him look really stupid. But I've enjoyed their back and forth on. Twitter. I want to say Instagram, maybe Twitter, but they've been speculating what it could be, and they've been suggesting like eye for an eye or hair versus hair match and stuff, and it's all the amusing little ideas that tickle me. I think somebody suggested Korea versus Korea, which I'm just going to say one person's got a lot more to lose than the other.
Well, yeah, just a bit. But yeah, so we apparently find out that match will take place tonight, aka the following week on Raw. So it'll be interesting to see what stipulation gets chosen for that. And then the main event, so Orton and Big Show.
In your highlights. Your highlights, Carl.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. The match. Earlier in the night we heard from Christian, and he was like, I'm super sure that Big Show's going to win." And then Orton and Big Show themselves had somewhat underwhelming promos. I thought, to kind of hype the match up. Didn't get me hyped for it, but the match itself I thought was okay. Orton won as expected, and then Punk kicks him after the fact. But I'm not really sure where it goes from here, to be perfectly honest. So, obviously Edge is still fucked. Christian can't wrestle, and now he's with a Big Show. Maybe it'll be Ron fucking Simmons, who appeared several times on the show
Yeah,
for
randomly.
no reason.
Still really fingers crossed, we get Tommaso or someone.
Yeah, remains to be seen. But yeah, I've no idea where it goes, to be honest now. They kind of seem like they've run out of legends to bring back. And
It sounds like Jeff's moving over to SmackDown. No, from SmackDown over to Raw.
Yeah, so who knows?
Trying to be a smart ass and fucked it up. I'm just going to move on.
Yeah, anyway, over to the O'Shites. So yeah, I mentioned the Orton promo was pretty shit, to be honest. I feel like he's been doing quite well the last few weeks. Not as good as he was with Edge, because obviously Edge is fantastic, but he's been holding his own. But yeah, this one just didn't land. Fucking Peyton Royce, Bianca Belair, Ruby Riott. What's going on with this? Where was Billie Kay this week? Why wasn't she there at all? Didn't speak about that.
Yeah, it's become so random.
Yeah, like, a Bianca Belair and fucking Ruby Riott a tag team now. Like, where's Liv? Like, they keep bringing her up, and then Ruby gets all upset about it. Like what?
Genuinely though, if you look at it at the minute, barring the good work that they're doing with Sasha and Bailey, the women's division's just fucking chaotic at the minute.
Oh yeah, on both shows as well.
Exactly. I'm not I don't think it's unfair to say that on both shows they have no fucking plans at all. The only thing they've got on the books is Sasha and Bailey, and then random shit around it. That's all they've got.
Yeah, like I had no idea, and I don't care. Like, why should we care about fucking Ruby Riott and Bianca Belair? Why should we care about Belair? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But no, like, jokes aside, I don't get where they're going with this at all, and it just seems a bit silly, I think. Street Profits beat down Andrade and Garza. To me, they felt more like the heels.
That's because I think their characters approach everything with a touch of arrogance that it makes you feel like the heels. I don't know if it's intentional. That's the problem. Yeah, but like, genuinely, everything's done with, like, look, even like the program with the Viking Raiders, who, again, I don't know who was meant to be the heel in that sort of thing, but they were the ones who were being cocky and arrogant. So you just naturally go to them as the heels, as playing that part. I don't know if it's intentional, but it's certainly the way they put their characters across instantly makes you go, yeah, they're the bad guys.
Yeah, and I for the Viking Raiders, that one is a little bit more okay. Yeah, we don't really know. I guess they're both good guys. Yeah, I can believe that. With this one, Andrade and Garza are a pair of fucking bastards, and you're meant to hate them. But it was the Street Profits who came across looking proper heelish. And
when you've spent weeks building up Andrade and Garza as proper heels, slime bags doing shady things, it's weird that they didn't come across as the bigger heels in this match.
Oh yeah, and they just ended up getting battered as well. So it's just like, well, that's pointless then, isn't it? Where are they going from here? So I mentioned earlier, Stephanie McMahon. Okay, is she GM again? Is the Authority running the show again? Why is she making matches?
See, here's the thing I'm not sure on here. Did they ever actually officially stop this? You had like the commissioner or whatever, and then you had your manager, and then it used to be Stephanie, and then she hired Kurt, and then they just kind of stopped. But has she ever officially not been?
I don't think so, but obviously she's just not been seen in forever. When she just rocks up via satellite.
Just there watching it like, hang on, don't I run this?
Exactly. Like, I don't know, it felt like really way out of left field. I feel like we've been saying for a while that they've not had any kind of authority figures, so matches just get made on the fly. Anyone can make their own matches. But this didn't feel better, because it was like, well, why the fuck's Stephanie making a match now? Like, it just, I don't know, it kind of bamboozled me a bit.
Yeah, we're even at a point now, we're like, who the fuck are you?
Exactly. Like, well, yeah, she just goes, okay, well, next week there's going to be a match, and, Sasha, you're going to be able to lose via DQ and count out, and if Bailey gets involved, etc. It's like, okay, Steph, okay, see you in another 6 months. So yeah, bizarre. And then the Bailey Carey match was fine, I think. About halfway through, the cut to Shayna Baszler being interviewed, and she's awful.
I hate when they do that.
As always. It's like saying something like, I'm like a shark in water, and I'm going to watch the match.
The sharks live, Shayna.
Yeah, it's like, okay, that was a whole lot of nothing. And then fucking Kyrie wins. Like, isn't Isn't this Kairi's last match? Isn't she going back to Japan?
I assume they're doing it as a farewell. Like, yeah, you take that win home with you, but yeah, it didn't really do much for Bailey.
That's what I don't understand as well. Though. So she literally got a win, and then how are they going to explain her just being disappearing now? Like, it would have made more sense to have have her be written off and have her lose the match. Surely,
unless she is going to appear on another show because they pre-taped a rematch of some sort. Who knows?
Maybe. Possibly.
It's the only thing I can think as to why they give her the win now, unless they are just going to leave it at that. Like, well, you lost to her, but she's in another country now, so let go.
You had your chance and you blew it. So that was Raw, and to be honest, it wasn't amazing or anything, but it definitely was not bad by the last few weeks account. So I've gone in with a 3 for this one. I don't know whether I was just super happy watching this show, and I'm over scoring it, but I'm going with a 3.
I'm gonna go 2.5 because I largely agree with what you're saying, but I wasn't as big on the Orton Big Show match.
Okay.
It wasn't bad, but I don't know. Big Show's kind of had his day now. Other than the fact that Christian can't wrestle and Edge really can't wrestle, I think that they sort of brought him in as an emergency thing. I don't know, do you know what I mean? But for me, I don't know. It just didn't land as well. So yeah, I'll go 2.5 because I think the rest of everything else you were saying is like, yeah, I totally agree with it. Cool. Right. So, Carl, would you like to talk about NXT?
Let's do it. Let's talk.
Awesome. About it. So, as far as the card goes, Carl, we saw not so much a match, but I'm going to mention it because it's relevant. Keith Lee came out and relinquished the North American title with some BS about wanting to give other people opportunities. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I've got more to do about that, but I'll wait till the outside. Right. And then William Regal announced a tournament for said title. So, okay, I'm going to give it a negative. Can't really give it a rating in any sort of way until the end, but I'm going to give this a whole negative because I don't mind the idea of a tournament, but I don't like what they've done with it. But we'll talk about that in a sec. So then we move on to Dexter Lumis going up against Killian Dane. You know what? You need matches like this on NXT. Like if you needed to cut a match from NXT, it probably would have been this because it didn't really do a lot. But at the same time, it keeps them both relevant. It lets you see what they're capable of in the ring. I've moaned in the past about Lumis not wrestling enough, so I'm totally for this match. It's nice to see Killian Dane, to be honest, as well. It wasn't a bad match. Probably didn't do a lot for Killian, but at this point in time, they're concentrating on building Lumis as a threat, as it were. So all in all, not a bad match. Lumis took the win, by the way. We saw Breezango taking on Everrise. Apparently, Everrise is still a thing, Carl. Okay.
They're just the fucking old books, then. Yeah. Literally, I feel like well, come on to.
Cool. Breezango took the win on that one, and again, good match, worth having. We saw Shotzi
Blackheart.
Shotzi Blackheart taking the win against Aaliyah with some shenanigans, but we'll get on to that. We saw Gargano versus Roderick Strong versus Bronson Reed as the first match going ahead in this tournament, or they qualify to go ahead into a ladder match or some bollocks. It's towards the NA title anyway. With Bronson Reed taking the win, so I was pleased with that purely for the winner. Mm-hmm. We saw Oney Lorcan versus Tim Thatcher. I'm going to give this a negative just because I've seen it too much now. I'm like, you've already beaten him, and this was just a repeat of you beating him. So Tim Thatcher took the win, and it was okay. Then we saw Dominic Djokovic versus Karrion Kross for the main event, Carl, with Karrion Kross taking the win, and again, another good match, and the right thing being built up, heading to the title scene. Mm-hmm. So as far as the highlights go, Carl, Robert Stone, surprisingly, is in my highlights this week. So I mentioned Shotzi Blackheart versus Aaliyah. Now, this had an interesting turn of events in which Shotzi took the win, but was then trying to run over Robert Strong with her little tiny tank for some reason again. And we saw Mercedes Martinez come in and take out Shotzi and then sign sort of with the I said Robert Strong, whoops, with the Robert Stone brand. I just realised when I meant to say the brand. So she's sort of signed with him, and by sort of, she wants him to sort of deal with the big money matches and overlook the paperwork, but not much else. So it's like she's half with them, I guess. But it's nice to see some progression because right now he just kind of gets humiliated by the women's division regularly. I don't understand what he was meant to be building, but now he's actually starting to build a little bit of a stable with having Aaliyah and Mercedes Martinez. So I'm interested. It's hooked me, and I want to know where that goes. the other highlight for me is the continuing build of Karrion. Now, again, he made it quite clear last week that he's heading towards the title picture, or that's his aim. He wants to go after Keith Lee. He wants the title. Dominik Dijakovic was someone Keith Lee named as someone who deserved a shot at him last week, so it made sense that he went up against Dijakovic this week, and he legitimately took the win. So again, all really good stuff. And I to be honest, I'm quite big on Karrion at the minute and the way they're building his character. So another highlight for me. And then I've got to be fair to the decision. So what I'm going to do, I want to try and mention this highlight without mentioning the massive negative, right? So the concept of a tournament bracket for the North American title, I'm fine with, and that will get a highlight from me. But that was going to segue me into the oh shites, if you will, because this bullshit, right, of Keith Lee just relinquishing the North American title, like a couple of weeks after holding both, just pissed me off. They could have easily worked this, right? For starters, where was the rule in? Where did they say that he has to defend both every time? Like, why can't he be defended separately? Why is it always both titles on the line in your match? I don't get that, right? It's not as if like they're unified now. You're fucked. He holds both, so he could defend both, which leads me to my next point. Why didn't we have? This is purely from my point of view. Like, this is one way they could have gone that would have been less stupid than him just going, I don't want this one now, right? Why didn't they have William Regal come out to make his announcement and essentially do a little bit of a heel turn? And his announcement was that Keith Lee will be defending both titles tonight, or both titles whenever, really. And he puts him in a triple threat against, let's say, Gargano and Strong again, or whoever was in the triples, puts him in a triple threat for the North American title. And then later that night puts him in the title shot against... You could have even gone, well, let's have a rematch with Adam Cole. And then Regal's clearly on team Undisputed Era. Then you could have potentially had... Strong taking the North American title, and then the expectation is that, well, Keith's already been worn down, he's already lost one title, Cole's easily going to take the win on this, and then Keith nearly getting the upset in the main event and retaining that title, or Karrion coming out to help him because he wants to fight Keith, he doesn't want to fight Cole. Or there's so many things you could have done where they legitimately could have took the belt off him without him just turning up and going, I've got a new shinier one, so you can have this one back. Just really pissed me off the way they booked this.
Do you know what? I'm fuming with the way that Keith Lee's been booked as champion the whole way through. He's awful. They're booking him so fucking bad. It's shocking.
You know what? I did not have an issue with the whole he's limitless, and it made sense that he took the win against them both, as we mentioned when he won the match. And the fact that he sort of done that, it's been a bit overdone, but when he's like, I'm going to give people who deserve a shot kind of thing, paraphrasing slightly. And now it's just this bullshit of, I'm going to relinquish the title. Why are you relinquishing the title?
Exactly.
Why not defend it?
Exactly. It's absolutely fucking mental, right? So, like, fair dues, like, strip him of the belt or something. Like, it happens in UFC. Like, if a fighter goes up and wins the fucking weight class above or the weight class below, and he's double champ, then they'll strip him of one because he won't be able to defend it in two divisions. Fine, do that, strip him of the belt. Don't just have him come out going, I want to give other people a chance. Oh, and I go, fuck off, Keith. Like, you just come across as a fucking idiot there. And then also with the fucking Djokovic match, like, how overbooked was that? Him coming to ringside and being like, no, do you want me to throw in the towel for you? Like, he's being forced down our throats as this little fucking, like, he's too babyface. It's making me go the other way. Yeah, like, fucking, like, the thing that was cool about him is that he was badass, and he was a face, but he was like a badass. Now he's just like this fucking, I don't know, like, oh, everybody.
But you see, this is the trouble. Like, you've hit the nail on the head. They've made him into a sap, because what's going to happen now if he loses, or at any point if he loses to Karrion Kross, let's say, and he has no titles, I'm not going to feel bad for him like I should do for a face. I'm going to go, you know what, you fucking deserve that, because he just gave one away for no damn reason. And like you say, he's just this typical. He can be so easily manipulated by a heel at this point that it seems almost like a foregone that that's what's going to happen. Karrion might as well go, I think I deserve your belt. You should just give me it. It'll probably fucking work.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just awful. It's awful writing that.
Really,
there's no,
really poor.
Why would you ever relinquish a title?
Exactly. For me, because this is the bit that it's still, and I know I mentioned it, but it still bugs me, because like no one said that they have to be defended together. And that's all he's done so far. He put both titles on the line in that match last week. But you don't have to do that every time. You can defend one and you can defend the other separately. Doesn't matter. And that would have made sense. You could have gone, right, well, he's screwed. He's going to have a busy pay-per-view ahead of him.
Well, exactly.
You know, it would have been logical for him to lose the North American title, because how are you possibly meant to defend both without getting totally blown out and exhausted? I know he's limitless, but...
imagine him, like, going into a pay-per-view and fighting, like, 2 or 3 fucking matches in this one pay-per-view, and catching up with him and carrying crosses there with his little fucking timer, saying it's only a matter of time before it catches up with you, and then I'm going to strike. Then, you know what I mean? Like, he wins it that way, you know what I mean? And Keith Lee's been, like, a fighting champion trying to defend it so much that he's, you know, fucked himself over.
See, boom, straight away. That's a better booking. Can't beat it. Like, this whole just BS. Like, again, I don't mind the idea of having a tournament for this now vacated title. I just think it's fucking stupid the way they've done it.
Yeah, same. Like, I'm all for a tournament. I love them. It makes sense. But
surprisingly, it's one thing WWE tends to do really well is tournaments.
Oh, exactly. But it's more like, you know, if he's going to vacate the belt, don't have him freely come out and do it for a bullshit reason of, like, you know, like, it just makes it discredits it, and it also makes him seem like too fucking cookie cutter of, like, oh no, I want to give other people a chance. I'm this champion now. Like, fuck off. Like, Regal should have come out and said, look, great results. You got both, but, you know, you're gonna have to relinquish one. Which one do you want to give up? And make him choose or something. You know what I mean? And even that would have been better, not just him coming out going, yeah, I want to give everyone else a shot. Oh, fuck off, Keith.
And you get a belt, and you get a belt.
Oh, we need to make that meme. Needs to happen.
And to be fair, that's been the main, like, shite of the night. The other one I want to mention is not a big thing, but I don't think Ever Rise works as a tag team. I'm just going to say it. I don't think they're a good tag team. The name's fucking stupid. It was not a great match. Breezango had to carry them. I just think they need to sort of be done as a tag team now and jump back to 205.
Do you not look at these guys and just think WWE are trying to take a stab at the Young Bucks? They're fucking dressed the same as the Young Bucks, but they're shit. It's almost as if they're saying, like, oh, fucking Young Bucks, like, indie darlings, let's just make our own version of them and have them be awful.
Yeah, it doesn't work, does it?
No.
More like Never Rise.
Oh, man. Yeah, fucking hell. It just seems like a direct shot at the Young Bucks every time I see them.
Yeah, but it just doesn't work. Like, they're not, they I don't know if they think they're hitting the right beats, but it just, like, that match, you had to rely on the charisma and the humor of Breezango. Like, they brought nothing to it. That could have been any tag team that Breezango went up against, and that's not a good thing to say. So, as much as we love tag teams that are established and have a name and, you know, look like a tag team, no, it's not working. Let it go.
Yeah. Although I have to say a big shout out for them using the Mounties theme song. Love that.
Yeah, we'll see again. You got to love Breezango and their approach at the minute.
Yeah.
Boss. So for me, NXT this week, Carl, despite the big gripe I had, was still a very good week. So I'm going to give it a 3.
Interesting. Sounds like I'm going to do this now because you just did the same to me, but it's a 2.5 for me. I thought the Dexter Lumis match was good. I thought the Breezango match was good. Fucking shitty Black Arts. My God, create a wrestler come to life. Boring. Get out my screen. Fucking stupid little tank. Fair dues. He's got what's his face? Strong. What's it called? No. What's it called?
I keep saying Strong Stone.
I know.
Robert Stone.
Yeah. Robert Stone, fair dues. He's got a bit of payoff now. He's recruited someone else. Okay, cool. But I still don't really care about it. I didn't really care about the Gargano, Roderick Strong and Bronson Reed match, but fair dues. I wasn't expecting Reed to win it.
Probably should have got more of a shout from me. Like, I was really worried about that match because it kind of bugged me, and it didn't merit being an shite because it was only a minor thing, but it kind of bugged me that Gargano was in the scene again. And I'm like, you had your chance. Like, I don't want to see you going for the North American title again. So I was kind of glad that Bronson Reed took the win on that one.
That's it. I think that I didn't really like the match, if I'm honest, but I think it was a positive that it's not just the same faces that we're going to see. The only look and Tim Thatcher. I don't care about Tim Thatcher, if I'm honest. They're trying to get him over. Is this? I
think the trouble is, like, they've done this thing now where it's like he had a really good match against Riddle in the half cage match, which I'm still going to call it that. And then he's done nothing but fight Oney Lorcan. It's like, we get it. You can beat Oney Lorcan. Like, does this need any more? You've already beat him.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I know. And then the main event, I thought, was just the ending was just overbooked again. Just like the whole Keith Lee at ringside and Djokovic going, "No, I'm going to do this to myself," and it's like, "No, please," and then he gets choked out, and it's like, fuck off.
And Keith dropped to his knees and went, Djokovic, and then it started raining. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And then gave away his other belt as we cut off.
Just take it. Don't kill him. Yeah. Hell of a match.
So,
Sorry, and your rating, you're gonna go 2.5, just
2.5.
just to fight me.
Just
Fine.
to fight you. Now let's move on. Let's move on to the best Wednesday show of the week.
The million
as proven
show
in the demos by Le Demo God. So this week, the card for Dynamite, we saw the TNT title defended. Cody took on Eddie Kingston, who was quite an interesting one.
This Kofi's cousin.
Kofi's cousin, yeah. his fucking New Jersey, New York white cousin. That's the one. We got to see MJF in action. We get an injury update from Dr. Britt Baker. We get an update from Taz and Cage on the reaction to Taz throwing the towel in. Costing
FTW.
Yep. We get the Young Bucks defeating Butcher and Blade in a Falls Count Anywhere match.
WTF.
Yes. We then get Diamante versus Ivelisse. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't have one for that.
With Diamante picking up the win. Hangman Page defeated 5, formerly Alan Angels, who's one of the recruits for Dark Order.
So, is he 5 because the other guy's 10?
Yeah, I think he just refers to every recruit by number.
Oh, right. So he's not you're literally half of 10.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
And then the main event of the evening saw Chris Jericho and Jake Hager defeat the Jurassic Express. So highlights, Eddie Kingston. So somewhat of an indie darling. I hadn't really seen that much of him, to be honest, prior to this, but I've heard good things. He comes out, cuts a pretty epic promo, to be fair. I've heard he's a really good promo, and he delivered, I thought. So it looked like, he's not signed to any deal or anything, but this was kind of an invitation for him to kind of put up or shut up, really, to prove he could.
And by the sounds of it, he put up.
He did. It was a really, really good match, to be fair. Fucking brutal as well. He's obviously known for his hardcore stuff and his backyard stuff. And, the thumbtacks came out. Cody, what a fucking...
Yeah, oof. Yeah, fair play to Cody.
Jesus Christ, you can say what you want about him, but he does not put himself through it every week.
Yeah, fair play to him. Fair play.
Honestly, busting himself out. You see the big scar he's got on his fucking head, busting himself over, and the thumbtacks, fucking moonsaults off top of cages. He's a crazy bastard, man. So you can say what you want, but God, he's a legend.
Yeah, fair play to him.
Only thing is, the way the match ended was Cody actually got a submission. And I disliked that quite a bit, actually, because I felt like it diminished the menace of Kingston. So, I wasn't really a big fan of that.
It's sort of the trouble with submissions at times, because it is exactly what it says in the name. He's had to submit to thing, and the minute they give the tap, it kind of negates the badass element, doesn't it? Well,
exactly. He's meant to be this badass hardcore guy or whatever. Just have him get knocked out, and then just pin him that way.
We've seen it. Look at the likes of Austin and that in the past, when they've just passed out instead. That's how you come out looking like a badass and still losing.
Yeah, 100%. For me, this was so the wrong finish, based on kind of trying to introduce him to the audience. It just made him be like, oh, so he tapped out from a fucking figure 4 or whatever the fuck it was. That's pretty shit. So yeah. Other than that, though, great opening, I thought, to Dynamite, as it is every week. Moxley cut a promo, and I was a big fan of it. Shock horror. This was the Moxley that I really want to see on Dynamite every week. The kind of promo that I want to see from him. He came out. Basically said that Taz is manager of the year for what he did, because he would have tore Cage's arm off. Just letting him know next time he's not going to let go. He was awesome. It was a really good promo from Mox.
Fair play to him. It shows he's he is for the most delivered. And I know we have our reservations, but he's working with the product, I think, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely. I just think he's had a bit of an identity crisis, I think, in AEW, where he's meant to be. He's still kind of a bit of the lunatic fringe that comes across a bit stupid, and he just needs to be.
This is slightly the problem. Not really a problem, but this is kind of the problem in a sense with AEW, where they're giving them creative freedom, but then it's almost like a panic of I've been moaning that I want creative freedom, but what do I want? I think we see that so evident in Sean Spears more than anyone. That it's they're letting him try stuff. Yeah, he's trying not being on TV at all at the minute. That seems to be working. But yeah, I think you're totally right. I think it's been a bit of an identity crisis for Mox, but hopefully he's getting to a point now where he kind of knows what he wants to do.
Definitely much better from him, I thought.
Yeah.
Fucking MJF. I fucking love that guy. What a guy. right? So he comes out and has a match with some enhancement talent I've never heard of. But before the match, he cuts a promo on how he's basically undefeated. And this guy's like, well, I'm pretty sure that you lost a tag match at Fyter Fest. And so MJF just goes fucking ballistic and batters him. And what I loved was like midway through the match, he goes out and gets the mic again and just basically makes him tell everyone that he's undefeated. Like fucking, you know what I mean? How good is that?
He's an absolute legendary heel.
How good is that?
I showed you that video earlier this week as well. That backstage bit where someone asked for a shout out and he just said, "Go fuck yourself" to the camera. It's like exactly. He's just such a brilliant heel. He's such an asshole, but in such a fantastic way.
Yeah, you just don't see this today. That you haven't even seen it in like yesteryear. Like someone who's such a fucking prick that he'll do that and he'll beat you up and he'll go out and get a microphone and just like, it's not an I quit match, but he's just there saying, just tell everyone I'm undefeated, and then beating him up until he says it, and then he fucking, you know what I mean? Like what a bastard! Like he's so good.
See, I think that's the problem. It's like this is committing to being a heel. Like that's like some proper full on heel work that you don't see it. Like even in AEW, you don't see anyone else going full heel like that. That's just like that. There's a really good way of doing it. To be honest, the whole mic thing I think was an absolute brilliant work. Really do.
Well, that's it. It's one of his best talents. You know what I mean? Is being able to do that and get that reaction. So I think he's probably the best heel in the business right now.
Totally agree.
I'm loving it. He's must see TV, which is more than you can say about anyone else really. So awesome. Loved it again.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Britt Baker. So she's still doing this conspiracy theory gimmick. I quite like it. I know a couple of people are saying it's a bit kind of played out now, and it's a bit like it's going on a bit too much. But I'm a fan. I think she's funny. I think she's much better as a heel than she ever was as a face. The whole kind of the nose break and bringing all that back and how everyone's against her, and I like can't remember her name now. It escapes me. The one she's got as a little lackey.
Sorry, I don't know her name either.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I'm quite enjoying it, to be honest. I'm glad that they're still keeping her on TV despite it being.
I think we've got to give her credit as well. Like she could have just gone away, recovered from the injury and then tried to build herself back up. I think much credit to her that she's still doing a lot of good heel work as well while she's out on injury. Like
that's it. She's doing everything she can to get a character over like during this time.
Because let's face it, if this was WWE, we wouldn't see her for like 4 or 5 months.
Oh, God,
and then we'd be expected to remember exactly. They might do a video promo, but we'd be expected to remember exactly what she was. But I think it's a really good way of keeping her relevant.
Oh yeah, or they'll have her go away and come back as fucking Britalina, like that fucking Emelina thing that they tried to do and failed. So yeah, fucking hell. Like, I'm glad she's still around.
Yeah.
Another highlight, Taz. So he comes out, another good promo from him. No bullshit. Says what he did. Was a business decision. He didn't want Cage's pec to be torn again, so he had it torn once. He said he's the FTW champ with an FTW mindset, and there was no fucking way he was going to tap out. So he had to do what he needed to do because he wasn't going to give up. As mentioned last week, I think he kind of sacrificed the battle in favour of winning the war, and it kind of comes through quite a bit. I think Darby Allin comes down and looks like he's going to get involved. Obviously, try and get back at Cage, and then out of fucking nowhere, Ricky Starks comes and just absolutely fucking blindsides him. So on AEW Dark, I believe Cage helped him out, and he's now one of Taz's new recruits.
For me, it looked like they were building towards Allen v Starks rather than Allen v Cage straight away, which is
well, I think obviously the Cage and Moxley thing doesn't seem to be done yet, so I feel like it's a good way to get Darby involved in something without making him wait any longer. Because obviously, I think they kind of beat up Darby, and then they were going to hit him with a skateboard, and then Moxley comes out. But this is where he's still a bit like, the promo was excellent, but then this was corny as fuck because he came out. I don't know whether he missed his cue or what, or something went wrong, but he basically had a barbed wire bat with him, and he was like going to make the save, but they hadn't got out the ring yet. So he got in the ring and was like going to hit them, but then just like stopped and just stood there like it looked silly. Do you know what I mean? He just did this weird dance. If we're meant to believe he's fucking psycho and he's unstable or whatever the fuck he is, then you wouldn't do that. You would just swing for them, wouldn't you? So.
Like, don't worry about it. Let's just let him go. He won't know what to do when he gets there. Like a dog chasing a car.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. Like that was a bit silly, to be honest, and it's a shame that it went that way after such a good promo. But I'm still confident that he'll turn it around.
Yeah, I mean, you expect the odd little glitch like that, don't you? Where it like clearly looks like a problem with timing, but
Yeah.
they're only minor issues. They can all be polished out over time.
Yeah, definitely. The Falls Count Anywhere match between the Young Bucks and Butcher and the Blade, the match that got over 1 million views. Yeah, it was really good. I thought it was really creative, actually. So they started off in like the kitchen area, like literally living up to his name. The butcher is like carving meat in the back because that's what he does. And then they kind of fight all around the kitchen using like the walls, using all the props, the tables, and stuff like that. I just thought it was a really fun match. It was really enjoyable. So obviously really good to see.
I dare say, and this might not be a popular opinion again, but it kind of, in a way, was a bit like the Edge Orton thing in terms of moving around, but more enjoyable. Because I found it got old very quick with Edge Orton. Like Edge Orton was saved by the fact that story and that animosity was there, but the actual moving around backstage bit actually got a little bit lame pretty quick. Whereas this, it did feel more enjoyable. Like I can't even pinpoint exactly what that was, but it just didn't tire quickly. It was like it was used well.
Yeah, definitely. It was just I think it was because it wasn't on so long and because it kind of they changed it up a bit and there was a bit more variety. Like it was a bit of a shame that they ended up going back towards ringside and stuff. It would have been nice to just see it carry on. But no, I thought it was a really good entertaining match. And then the main event was also really good. So obviously it was Jericho.
You love yourself a bit of Luchasaurus, don't you?
I fucking love it. Love that guy. The most agile big man I've ever seen, I think. But yeah, like it was really good. I really like the fact that it was like you had the dynamic of Hager and Luchasaurus as the two big guys, and Jericho and Jungle Boy, which you've seen before, as kind of the kind of smaller guys. So it was just really good. And then out of nowhere, we get Serpentico from the audience.
And you're gonna mark out, aren't you, Carl? You're gonna mark out in a sec.
You see, what was really good is we actually saw Serpentico in the audience throughout the night, and you could see it was Serpentico. So you knew it was him. Nothing looked off or shifty. But then obviously Serpentico gets in the ring and attacks fucking the Jurassic Express, and then reveals it to be Sammy. So what a swerve, because you have seen him there the whole time, and you're just like, oh right, why is Pentaco there? But then it actually was Sammy. So yeah, fantastic. I mean, we love him, so I'm glad he's back.
No, it's good to see Sammy back. Something was missing from the Inner Circle, and whilst we totally understand why he took the time out, or he was given the suspension, it's great to see him back. It's great to see the Inner Circle complete.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've seen a lot of stuff online as well. People kind of go, "No, he hasn't had enough time off, and he shouldn't be back at all," and blah, blah, blah. Like, for fuck's sake, like.
There'll always be people who are unhappy. Like, there's a lot of people like going, "Oh, Sasha never forgave him," and it's like, look, she never really said one way or the other. She just said that they've had a talk, and clearly she's not keeping hold of it. She's not asking for his blood, so just let it fucking go.
Exactly. Like, literally, it's between Sasha and him, and if she's like got no major beef about it or anything, she's not come out and like said he should never be allowed to wrestle again or any of this shit. So look, so he said something. He's apologized for it. He's trying to make better decisions, and she seems cool with it. She spoke to him, so
yeah. Fine. At the end of the day, he's now someone who is a wrestler who you probably don't like. That's the worst that's happening right now. Sasha's fine with it, or you can choose to believe she's not, whatever. But at the end of the day, he's coming back. He is going to be a wrestler. So those who are unhappy with it, it's just a case of he's now someone you don't like. Then let it go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I obviously I was a huge fan. Sammy coming back, and then to make the save, Best Friends and Orange Cassidy come down and clear the ring afterwards as we see the Inner Circle flip off everybody as we fade to black. So great way to end the show.
Yeah.
In terms of the O'Shites, Lance Archer, that dude, man, that dude. He's just silly, isn't he? He's just he's like the fucking Jolly Red Giant. He's a fucking idiot, man. He just comes across as comical.
I hate to say I called it on such a petty reason, but the nickname thing straight off the bat.
Yeah.
Just felt like a kid trying to make something that sounded really badass, and the whole thing. Yeah, he's not getting over with me. I'll be honest.
Well, that's it. It's too silly. Like he beats people up on the way to the ring. Like he just went mental in this week's episode. Like the interview was there. He's like, "You're gonna want to see this." Went into the locker room and just battered a bunch of like enhancement talent. Like, just I don't know, just crap. Just put him in a good feud, a decent feud, and just have
This
it be
is
less
just
silly.
directionless nonsense at the minute.
Yeah, like honestly, like we get it. He's meant to be this like murder horde monster who's like crazy and can attack anyone, but it's just stupid. Put him in an actual match that matters. Crazy.
Yeah.
Also, I wasn't a big fan of the Evil East match. I'd heard a lot of stuff around Evil East, apparently being like this like amazing worker and stuff. So I was like, oh, cool, Evil East, and we get to see her. Yeah, it was bland. It was really bland. And in the middle of it, they had Big Swole cut a like picture-in-picture promo about Britt Baker. But again, Swole came across as a heel in this, and she's not meant to be the heel. So,
and to be honest, stuff like this as well. It's like, here's how much we don't care about this match.
well, yeah, it pisses me off when they do that. It's so bad. It's like on Raw as well. They did it with Shayna Baszler, just cutting off the match. It's like, well, why? Just wait. You've got enough time.
We were watching that.
I know. And then Hangman. So Page for this 5 guy from the Dark Order. But like the whole of the Dark Order came there and like we're watching on and stuff. And then after the match, Brody comes out. You know, Page beats him quite easily. This 5 guy.
Well, he's no
5
10.
guys, burger and fries.
Nice.
Yeah, so Brody comes out and it looks like he's trying to recruit Page. It's like, okay, why? And then the Dark Order start beating him down, but it's actually FTR who make the save. Like Omega's nowhere to be seen. Then he does finally come out a little bit towards the end, but then it's like, you know, FTR are like, oh, we don't like you, and then Hangman Page is a bit like, oh, why didn't you come and save me? And so FTR give Hangman a beer, and then them are drinking together, and Kenny Omega's just looking on. I don't really get it, to be fair. It just feels...
It's just me. Have they had this little tag team on the rocks way too much?
Yeah, far too much.
Started out with the Bucks not being happy about it for some reason,
Yeah.
and being a bit pissed off with Hangman. Now FTR are not happy with Omega, and it's like, what the fuck do you want?
Exactly.
Why are they
And it looked like they were starting to build a little friendship. Like you could see them like drinking milk and beer together and stuff, just like chilling at the bar. And then all of a sudden FTR come in, now they're in the way of them. Like, I don't know. Yeah, bit silly. But look, I don't want to dwell on the few negatives. I thought this was a fantastic show, and I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. I thought it was really, really good. That MJF was a fucking super highlight. Cody and Kingston was awesome as well. Jericho, Jurassic Express, Young Bucks, like Taz promo, like it was amazing, really, really good. The only downsides were like marginal, like the Diamond Evil East match and Hangman and like the Dark Order and Lance Archer. So 4 for me.
Okay. I'm going to give it a 3.5, I think.
You bastard.
No, I couldn't disagree at all, mate. As you know, I am quite stingy with my 4s and 5s, so it probably will be a 3.5 for me because it was a very good week, but nothing to push it further for me. But genuinely, I think it was a really good week for Dynamite. No wonder they had the match of 1 million views, is it really? So that being said, Carl, are you ready for some SmackDown?
Lay it on me.
Right, so as far as the card goes, we had Alexa Bliss versus Nikki Cross, with Nikki Cross taking the win. We had Matt Riddle versus Tony Nese, with Riddle taking the win. We had Drew Gulak, Shorty G, Lince Dorado, and Gran Metalik in a fatal 4-way, with, surprisingly, Gran Metalik taking the win. Now, this was for the #1 contendership for the IC title, just FYI. And then we round off the night, Carl, with Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus in a bar fight, with Jeff taking the win. So let's talk about the highlights. So we have a bit of a promo, weirdly, that kind of led... Well, it's clear where they're going, but it was kind of just an oddly placed promo for me, with Big E sort of getting Kofi's blessing to have a singles run. I think they're trying to hint at maybe IC because this was done around the Fatal 4-Way, but it could be that he's going main title run. I don't know. He was just kind of like getting his blessing in a weird way. Kofi's now injured. I don't know if that's kayfabe or legit, from the tag team loss against Cesaro and Shinsuke. So looks like we're going to see Big E having a bit of a solo go. So that's an interesting one. Mm-hmm. The other highlight for me was as far as the Jeff Sheamus bar fight, which I actually thought I was going to totally hate, and I wasn't overly thrilled with it. But this random twist of Brother Nero well, everyone's been saying Brother Nero. I'm not overly familiar with Brother Nero to know enough about that, but basically this weird little transformation of Jeff in the match to get the win, which intrigues me. I like to see where they're going with Jeff on this one. So I'm getting a lot of head shaking there, Carl. What's up?
It was shit. It was shit. It was like they'd watched some AEW stuff and gone, oh yeah, well Matt does crazy stuff like that and changes characters. Maybe we can do that with Jeff.
Well, to
Maybe
be honest,
if we
as
just
far
put
as I'm
Sheamus's
concerned,
hat on his face and then all of a sudden you can have makeup on. What? And then he's got makeup on and different contact lenses now. Okay, but what? Like, it's fucking stupid.
as far as I'm concerned, everyone's been saying Brother Nero. Now, I don't remember Brother Nero using that exact face paint in TNA. Correct me if I'm wrong. But as far as I'm concerned, the Brother Nero element was always part of the Matt Hardy.
Oh yeah, it's never been
broken
WWE.
thing.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, well, if you're going to try and lean towards the broken gimmick, you should have done that when Matt was woken. But yeah, I found that just a bit. For me,
it just
I'm
didn't make any sense.
I'm intrigued, but I don't know enough about Brother Nero, so maybe that's why you're giving the neg there with the.
It's nothing. Fucking Brother Nero. It's just like another fucking.
I'd have been more intrigued by the whole Willow thing that he was doing. That was fucking
same.
That. But nevertheless, there's a reason this is a highlight, Carl, and I'll explain it now because it was technically part of my shites. The overall match annoyed me. The fact we're still having Sheamus versus Jeff annoys me. What I liked about this was the fact that it wasn't just Jeff randomly beating Sheamus clean when he hasn't been able to 3 times before. It's still a negative on the match because this is now 3-1. So it's like, well, yeah, well done, you won, but he still beat you 3 times before. So Sheamus can still walk away thinking, well, I still kicked your ass. But the fact that they did something like always got a different persona, so that's why he was able to dig down deep and get the win. At least he tried to explain it in some way. So it gets a highlight for me because of that as well. Because I'm sick of the feud. I really hope this is the end of it now. I really do.
I fucking hated the whole thing. Even Jeff, I am the bar, man. What? Sheamus is like, no, I'm the bar. I was the bar with fucking Cesaro. What?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So sort of segued into it anyway, but we're moving to the O'Shites, Carl. So first one is having Matt Riddle versus Tony Nese. So we're having the recently moved from NXT talent Matt Riddle versus an NXT talent on SmackDown. So it's like, why are we having an NXT match on SmackDown? Like, you've moved him over to fight a whole new group of people and you put him against someone who's in NXT?
Yeah. I don't think there was ever like any chance that Riddle wasn't going to win this. So it's one of these matches that you see and you just go, oh, I can just skip this then because obviously, he's going to win. Yeah. And hopefully at the end there'll be some Corbin interaction, and lo and behold.
Paint by numbers, Carl. There was some Corbin interaction. I wasn't a big fan of this promo. I'm never normally a big fan of Corbin. I am for this feud. I don't mind it. The feud. It's I'm totally fine with it. But it was more that some of the stuff he's saying is like at this stage doesn't make sense. So he was like trying to suggest that Riddle's not at this level. He's not at the SmackDown level. And it's like that would have worked better had he not have already had like matches and wins against the likes of AJ Styles. So I was like, well, what are you trying to say, Corbin? Like he's beaten some really top talent on SmackDown. So that this would have worked 3 weeks ago. And then he was suggesting like, oh, you should go be on 205 Live. And it's like, well, he's 216 pounds, so he shouldn't be on 205. I don't know if you know how this works, Corbin, but that's a cruiserweight.
Do you know what makes me laugh is they probably would have originally written this as like, you should go back down to NXT, and they're like, oh no, that's off their brand now.
Yeah, we can't say that.
205 Live. Yeah, like fucking shit.
But so it's just the sort of thing. It's like, we get it. You're having a feud, and I'm all for the feud. I think it's a good thing for both of them. But yeah, this was not a good promo for me. Didn't enjoy it. I'm intrigued at your thoughts on this one, Carl. The whole interaction with Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. So for those who haven't seen SmackDown and are just getting the information from us, not much credit to you. Thanks for that. We had Bayley set this ultimatum where Nikki Cross would get a rematch if she could beat Alexa Bliss in a match. I don't know, for starters, I don't know what Bayley was expecting with that, because like there was a very real possibility that Bliss could have went, yeah, come on, I'll go and lie down and you can get your rematch because fuck this bitch, right? So like, Bliss isn't on your side, Bayley. Why are you doing that? And secondly, the random just like aggression from Nikki of like, like and shoving Bliss and stuff like that. And so I don't know, it just kind of felt a bit hokey and weird the way they booked this. Like the match itself was actually not too bad. I don't mind them having a match against each other, but we're sort of almost hinting at a falling out between these two when everybody wants Bayley versus Banks. So the whole way it was put together just kind of threw me a little bit.
Oh yeah. Let's not forget the fact the whole way it was put together was Bayley book the match, because as we know, anyone can book any match, and luckily they hadn't filled any fucking amount of minutes with planned matches, so that you can just do that, which is it's
awesome,
lucky that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very fortunate that they often have a lot of dead air.
Yeah, but no, I thought the whole fucking Nikki thing, which like we have to do it and we have to do it, fuck up, and like pushed her and everything, was a bit like, whoa, woman, like she's still your best friend, isn't she? Why are you so fucking?
And I'm not even sure where they're going, because she's since sort of backpedaled on social media, going, oh, well, she understood and we'll always be friends. It's like, if she understood, maybe have a conversation with her, then both come out for the match, and she just gives you the win. Or you have a legitimate match. I don't know. But it didn't have to be done that way. That does make you look like a bit of a tit. Strange. But yeah, wasn't overly big on that booking. And then everything Naomi, like, no offense to her, but they had what do they call it? Ms. TV. They interviewed Naomi this week. And to be honest, I'm getting a little bit sick of Miz and Morrison. I know people really enjoy their antics, but it's very much the same every time.
But it's every
get people
week.
out. Let's be a dick to them. Let's get someone out they don't expect. Very same every time.
Have you noticed as well, like for whatever reason, Morrison is always going after Seth Rollins. What's that about?
I haven't noticed that, no.
Yeah, I think he's trying to. 4th time he's done it now.
Yeah, think he wants a match.
Well, he
think we're hinting at something.
Maybe, maybe he did stuff around like when Becky got pregnant and stuff like that, and like taking the piss out of him for that. And then it was like this week it was the fucking Rollins sickometer or whatever it was, and it was like 4 6 stars. Then he was like, oh, it's almost like he hasn't been basically again going after the fact he's going to be a dad or something. It was weird. I
hadn't picked up on the consistency of that, like because I remember him doing the sickometer thing, but like I didn't realize he'd been doing it like pretty much every time they had a Miz TV, I assume then.
Yeah, I mean, probably not every time, but it's been like 3 or 4 times definitely that I can recall. So
yeah, well, it's getting noticed enough, isn't it, that you're noticing a pattern, like. But yeah, the whole Naomi thing, like even some of the stuff, it was like they were saying about the crowd getting behind her, and she was like, well, yeah, because they know I deserve it and stuff like that. And I'm like, no offense to Naomi, she's been there a long time, and she, on a lot of ways she does deserve it. But at this point, when no one's seen you in months, even I'm a bit like, why are the crowd getting behind you? Like, why is your hashtag trending? The last time we saw you, you were doing karaoke. What the fuck? And you felt like a heel then, because Jey Uso was all about you, even though there were 4 other people in the fucking ring. Just felt like favoritism. I don't know what they're going for with it. And I'm going to moan about it again like I did last week, without any sort of story, provocation or reason. Lacey Evans is a heel. Okay. Still bugs me. Like, just because she doesn't like her, I guess she's gone full heel again now.
I don't know.
All in all, Miz TV.
Source. I think in terms of the hashtag thing you mentioned, I don't know, was it Sasha who started it off? I think every fucking word Sasha types these days, people are just all over it. But I think it was Sasha potentially who came out first saying that she deserves better, like hashtag team bad, and then hashtag like Naomi deserves better or something. I think that was what
the Naomi deserves better hashtag, I think, was what she was referring to. But it just kind of like, I'm like, from a kayfabe story point of view, no one's seen you in ages, so like it's hard to get behind someone when you're not on TV. And I know, in reality that's not necessarily Naomi's fault, but kayfabe story wise, she's acting entitled when she's not been around. So from a booking point of view, it doesn't work for me. But hey ho. So that was Miz TV. That was my last dose shite. Because I've already moaned about the bar fight. Unless there's anything more you want to say on the bar fight, Carl.
I don't want to think about the bar fights. It was fucking atrocious.
Yeah. Like, see, this is the thing. They done an on-set, obviously cinematic, to do the whole face changing thing. And they didn't manage to pull in 1 million viewers, Carl. Well, they probably did. I totally thought. I don't know. Didn't even check their viewership. But then
again, it is SmackDown in it, so maybe.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't executed anywhere near as well as some of the cinematics we've seen from WWE, even, to be honest. But they just need to be done with it now. Let Jeff do something else. It can't be an entirely Sheamus run that Jeff has in WWE. Let him go over to Raw. Let him go against Orton. He's a legend.
He's got face paint on now, so it's a whole different world now.
Yeah. Looks like the old Jeff is obsolete. Very slight TNA reference there for you. Right. So as far as my rating goes, Carl, I've actually got more upset with it as I've been talking about it. So I was going to say 2.5. I'm now going to say 2 because actually there was not a lot likable in there.
You can't do this to me. I had 1.5, and now it just makes it seem like, so you know what? I'm giving it a fucking 1 because I'm not just going to go down half a point. To be fair, it probably is a 1 because the only things I actually enjoyed about this whole fucking thing was the number 1 contender match.
Yeah,
that was literally about it.
Again, when you look at the title scene, they've done the Naomi Lacey thing doesn't progress anything towards the women's division. We didn't get anything from Braun and Bray. We didn't get anything from Otis in terms of the cashing in or potential for cashing in. So
it's okay because the advertising next week, the love story continues between him and Mandy. Yay. And there was about a 3 or 4 minute fucking look back at them for no reason.
But we haven't, I think you made the point earlier, but we haven't seen them on the show in 3 weeks now?
Mm-hmm.
Weird. So really, as far as progression goes, the only title, the only story, the only thing that's been progressed, arguably you could say Riddle in terms of story, but was the Fatal 4-Way for the IC title. And before we do close off, Carl, incidentally, what do you make of the Grand Metalik shout? That was a bit random.
So I mentioned before on the news segment, I think he's a Daniel Bryan guy. So I believe he called out both Big E and Grand Metalik as 2 guys who were underrated.
Right.
And I was like, coincidentally, now Big E's
what are the odds?
Grand Metalik's got an Intercontinental title match. So
so it smacks of his influence then, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that he's at obviously the creative influence that he's being given is probably being is taking a gamble on these 2. So, I mean, I am excited to see what Big E can do on his own because he's never really done it, has he? He was always a sidekick to Dolph Ziggler, or he was part of the New Day, and even then he was just the tag team guy. So yeah, I mean, I think it's long overdue. I'm all for a Big E run, so quite excited about that. But the Grand Metalik thing, that was just a bit of a shock, I think. I definitely
a welcome shock, though. To be honest, I'm intrigued now. Let's get something a bit different going.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those. I don't think it's going to go anywhere, but if it, gives him the spotlight, similar to fucking in AEW where Private Party, Mark Quinn got a shot at Cody the other week, and he, was given the opportunity to have a singles match and really, really shone. So hopefully we'll get a fantastic match out of it with AJ and Metalik. But I don't think it's necessarily going to be a massive game changer because obviously he's still in the tag scene at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah. But remains to be seen. Be an interesting one. And that is This Week in Wrestling. We did it, Carl. Another week done.
Did it.
A reasonable hour for once. Not that it matters for anyone listening, but normally we record this quite late, so this is actually quite impressive.
You say this, and as people who watch on YouTube and probably can even hear, you can usually tell how tired I am. And even though we're early, you can still see I'm like this. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just
to be fair though, Carl, I'm saying early. It's still midnight for those who are interested. It's still late. It's just normally we start recording this at 10 and carry on for quite a while. So I think we've done well this week.
Definitely.
So that is everything, guys. Before we, sorry for all the M's, by the way. I'm going to have to put an M counter on here at some point. But before we leave you, do you guys like T-shirts? Do you like Florida? Well, as we've mentioned before, if you haven't already done it, visit floridaday.co.uk. Not only can you buy some fantastic merch designed by some fantastic people, you can get all the information and trip planning things that you need for any trip to Florida. But seriously, check it out. There's some really good shirts on there, stuff I'm going to pick up. I know Carl's, have you already picked some up, Carl, or you're going to pick some up? I know you've mentioned a couple to me. But yeah, honestly, fantastic website to visit. It's really useful for any sort of holiday planning. But I really enjoy the merch store side of things, which they've recently launched, and definitely worth a look.
Yeah, definitely.
And until next week, guys, we'll see you again.
Greetings and salutations. It's your man CD, the fallen angel Christopher Daniels. And I'm out here in the Southern California sunshine, making my way through this quarantine like everyone else. Hopefully you're all home, safe, and healthy. I want to do a quick shout out to Carl and Anthony, who are the leaders of the A to the K Wrestle Talk podcast. You guys can watch that on YouTube, listen to it on Spotify, etc., etc. And I just want to say I appreciate their support. The guys at AEW, we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for fans like you guys. And I'm sure Carl and Anthony feel the same way about all of you that listen to A to the K Wrestle Talk. So keep listening to A to the K Wrestle Talk. You guys stay home, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you later.